You think Jesus can do anything right here in Las Vegas, Sin City? I believe that what God is doing is He's creating an eternal testimony. And what we know is when we can come together under a spirit of unity, nothing will be impossible. Hello and welcome to Las Vegas United. I am your host, Aaron Pino. It's such a privilege to be with you week after week here on Keen 17. And also those who watch us on YouTube, or maybe you listen to us on iTunes or Spotify. I want to say thank you so much. We have the best audience in the world. Hallelujah. Right? Here at Las Vegas United, what we're doing is we're basically partnering with God to create eternal testimonies of His goodness, mercy, and power right here in the Las Vegas Valley. So what does that mean? What does that look like? That looks like bringing different leaders, pastors, entrepreneurs, business people, even people in government on the show and talking about how God is using them to make a difference in our city. And so today's no different. I actually am I'm looking forward to this because I have my good friend on the show. Would you help me welcome Pastor David Juarez? What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure, man. It's good. It's good. God's been good, and it's an honor to be sitting again.
Oh, yes. We have sat across many tables from each other, man.
Enjoying good food. Really, really good food.
I know. I feel like we need to do like a plate of pad thai or like a tray of tacos or something.
Bro.
You know what I mean? Something like that. Yeah, man. It's great to have you on the show, man.
Thank you.
I'm really proud of you, man. How God is using you, and we'll get into that a little bit. But dude, it's awesome to have you here, man.
Thank you.
You're rocking and rolling. You're doing your thing. God is using you, man, and so I think it's awesome. So
Thanks.
I'm glad to talk today. So it's good.
Same.
Well, before we get into talking about how everything God is using you with and for, tell our audience a little bit more about yourself. How long have you been in Las Vegas? Just tell us more about yourself, man.
So, as Pastor Aaron said, I'm David. I'm from Mexico originally, but I was brought over here when I was 2. So you can say that I was raised here in the Vegas Valley.
Oh, yeah. You got roots, bro. You got roots.
I was raised in the Vegas Valley. And this is the place that I call home, So I planted a church this year. And I didn't want to be a pastor. That's the funny thing, But when God calls, it's better to be faithful and obedient, know. Vegas is where it's at. Vegas is my home. It's where my heart is. Mm-hmm. And man, my heart aches for this city. And I'm grateful for people like you that want to bring the churches together. It's not like how I tell everybody, it's not me against you. It's like we're playing for the same team.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
let's do something together. So it's good to see that the mindset of a lot of pastors now have been changing, have been changing, and they see the need to come alongside one another. So you can say that I'm more American than I am Mexican.
But let's not lose them Hispanic roots. Yeah, so you know
exactly.
what I'm saying?
The church is mostly Spanglish.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, again, I didn't want a Hispanic church, bro, but God's like, the joke's on you. But man, I love the people, especially my culture, man. I feel like I'm trying to bridge the gap between the younger generation and my generation. Mm-hmm. A lot of people that don't speak Spanish, have parents that only speak Spanish.
Right.
So I'm like, hey, God's like, hey, I want you to be the bridge, kind of like speak life into the younger generation, speak truth, and at the same time, like, be able to, like, build that bridge between fathers and sons, families, to kind of, like, just see that there is a place where they can both come. It doesn't have to be all English or all Spanish, where people can be
absolutely
family.
And I love seeing what God is doing within the church. because I know your family goes to church with you, which is a blessing.
Yes, it is.
You know what I mean? Whenever we had met several years ago, and we could talk about that a little bit, you told me I have a vision, and I want to worship with my family. I want to do this with my family. And I think it's so cool how God has brought that full circle for you, right?
Yeah, man.
So before we get into, I want to talk more about ministry and the church and how you're making a difference in Las Vegas, because you are. But whenever you and I first met, you were kind of in a not the greatest spot.
No.
You know what I mean? You had gone through some stuff.
Yes.
The trials of life,
Yes.
disappointment, discouragement,
Yes.
betrayal, if I could say it like that. You know what I mean? And we hung out, and I said, man, come on. We're going to hang out. We're going to get you healed up, man, because God's not done with you, right?
Correct.
And yeah, so talk to us a little bit about that process, a little bit about that journey, how you've gotten to where you're at now.
Oh, man. So I have to bring up our mutual friend, Miles.
Miles Gallagher.
Miles Gallagher.
I've known Miles. Let's see, how old am I? I've known Miles, I think, 30 plus years probably.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I've known Miles for about close to 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
I met him at a restaurant. At my first restaurant job, that's where I met Miles. And, man, that guy has always been important, I guess. God uses that man without him even knowing.
Mm-hmm.
He's pulled me back into church not once but twice.
Well.
And so I remember having a conversation with Miles when I was like, I was going through the whole deconstruction type of thing that I talked to you about, when it was very popular and relevant back 2-3 years ago, or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, man, bro, I was serving at a church. Funny thing, I was serving at a church. I won't name the church, but I was serving at a church.
Man. Yeah. I know. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing because I know the story. I know the background.
Yeah. So I was serving at a church, man, and I told Miles, I was like, hey, bro, so I'm thinking about leaving the church.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm not finding what I want, or, the word is good and everything, but there's just something that's missing for me, And he's like, hey, I got a friend who's going to plant a church here. You should meet up with him. Mm-hmm. So I think that was, I forget, April.
Yeah.
Around that time of 2019, I want to say?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, right? So I didn't meet you until September.
Mm-hmm. It was 2020.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, so 2020. So I didn't meet you until September. Right, at a barbecue, at a barbecue. Yeah. Okay, so during that time, man, I was not, like you said, I was not in the best place mentally. I was going through a lot of depression. I was going through so many things that I went through the year prior, and the enemy was just like beating me constantly. I think those last 2-3 years, from like 2018 to like 2020 before I met you, was probably like one of the hardest trials that I've been through. Mm-hmm. Partly me for my dumb self, but at the same time not wanting to listen to God, but at the same time, there was some church hurt.
Yeah, sure.
And I wanted to blame everything on Jesus. Do this, do that, and when I was going through that, those months after me telling Miles that, like, hey, I think I'm leaving. I want to leave the church. And he brought you up. And then I remember I like going on runs. So I was running at the Sunset Park Trails. And I remember telling God, I'm like, either you bring somebody mm-hmm. to help me out, or I'm going to walk away from you. Mm. And that was a prayer of desperation. Mm-hmm. That was a prayer where I was pretty much about to jump over the edge, and I was like, I'm done. The prayer wasn't answered instantly, but it came when I needed it mm-hmm. the most. I remember I'm meeting you, and you're like, hey, let's talk. He's like, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I play the bass. I was like, hey, so I went to this church, visited this church. and the sound was phenomenal. I was like, oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, thank you. You know, and
because you were running sound.
I was running sound
service,
that I was running sound that during that service. You know, so you're like, hey, let's grab lunch or coffee or something.
Tacos.
Yeah, tacos. Yeah, and I was like, all right. So going into that meeting to meet you, I was like, well, I'm gonna tell him everything. I'm just gonna word vomit pretty much everything that I've been through, and if he doesn't want to touch me and if he doesn't want to help me, well, then that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, so when you met me, I was at one of my lowest points in my life, spiritually speaking, because working wise, God was pretty much blessing me. But yeah, I told you pretty much.
Yeah, you laid it out there, man.
Everything. I was like, yo, bro. I was like, so here you go. Everything's on the table. I was like, so just so you know who you're getting involved with. And you're like, I don't care. And to me, that was like, wait, what? I wasn't expecting that, because it's sad to say that a lot of Christian people we're very judgmental.
Oh, sure.
We're very, very judgmental, you know. But when you spoke life, I guess, so you're like, let's get you back on the horse, you know, and back on the saddle, and let's get you going. I was like, wow. And I guess that was the time when I was like, when God confronted me and told me, you can't say that I'm not real. You can't say that I haven't been there for you.
Yeah.
I showed you once, twice. You know, I can count how many times he's been there. And yeah, man, I mean, that, to me, that lunch that we had was kind of like, it was a very crucial point in my life, I guess.
Yeah.
And very pivotal moment.
Absolutely,
also, man. To where coming along from all of that to where I'm at today.
Yeah. It was a journey. You know what I mean? It was a process. You know, there was many, let's just say we put down many tacos and much sushi, hashing things out, talking things through, and really getting you healed up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because some of the things that happened to you through people who weren't necessarily healed themselves, right? I tell people like this, like, even the best fathers are only broken brothers, right? So that's why we have to get our identity and our identity and who we are from the Lord, right?
Yes.
So we walked through that. We've gone through the process. You helped us plant Overflow Church,
yes,
which I'm so incredibly grateful for you. Dude, we couldn't have done anything that we have done without you. You know what I mean? So thanks for that.
Oh, you're welcome, bro. It was a pleasure. It was, honestly.
It was really fun. I'm still having fun. You decided to go off and start your own church. You know what I mean? But I mean, right. But it was awesome. And during the journey, you came up to me and said, "Hey, man, I think it's time to scratch the itch. Like, I feel a stirring in my heart." And so we walked through that process as well.
Yes, we did.
And so, you know, we blessed you on the way out. And so that was just, you know, what was that, like maybe 8 months ago, something like that?
8 months ago, bro.
And so you stepped out, you're healed now, you're back on the saddle, and here you are rocking and rolling, man. So talk to us about Ascension Church, man. Tell us, you know what I mean? Like, how's it going? Like, what are you sensing for the city? You know what I mean? Pastor David now. Whenever you first came around to us, you were just like David. Now you have Pastor David on there. So talk to us about that, man.
Dude, man. So, yeah. So it was just an itch. So when I first got called into ministry was 2016. I had a vision about how the church, being in a church building. And like you said, my family was there in that vision. My dad teaching. I saw my brothers worshiping alongside with me. And then just seeing my family. And
shout out to all the Juarez clan, okay? Y'all roll like 65 deep, I'm just telling you. I've been to family birthday parties. So anyway, keep going. Shout out to you all.
You know, so it was that. And then like I told you, like when I first saw that, I was like, I don't think I want this. I'm okay with being behind the scenes, the production team or the worship team, but I was like, God's like, no, this is what I want you to do. And I did it the first time and I failed. And this is when I met you. And this was now, when I told you, hey, the itch is there again, I told you like, man, my biggest fear is failing again. And you're like, no, man, this is what God prepared you for. So you got to step out and do it. So I had a big plan. I tell everybody my plan of opening Ascenzion Church was September of this year, but it came to be March. It came to be during March. I had a big plan like, hey, I want to do this, want to do that. And all of a sudden God's like, nope, it's now. And I was like, I don't think I'm ready. Like, I'm scared. I don't think I'm ready. But okay, I'm going to trust you and I'm going to do it. So we started meeting in my house for a little bit. I want to say it was like maybe like 5-6 weeks that we started doing a little like, home group type of thing. We kind of outgrew that. And I called around different churches. I was like, you know what? I want to like sublease because financially speaking, I wasn't there, and so I hit a few churches up, emailed them, DM'd them and stuff. And out of like 8 or 10 churches that I hit up, only one of them got back to me. And they were like, the pastor, funny story is that we kind of have the same circle of friends without knowing. So I heard about him, but I didn't know who he was. And he hit me back up and he's like, hey man, I got your voicemail about a week and a half ago. I think I called you, but you didn't pick up. So anyway, he's like, so you want to rent from us? I was like, yes, I want to rent your building. He's like, all right, let's meet up. Let's talk.
Yeah.
So we met up, we talked, and when we met up, he's like, the funny thing is before you even reached out to me, the week before that, I was talking to my board and I was telling them, hey, I kind of want to like rent out the church. And he's like, so you calling was God ordaining, pretty much putting everything together. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So we talked, he knows Tony.
Oh, yeah.
Tony Monto. So he called Tony. He's like, hey, so tell me about David. Tony told him, he's like, hey, you guys are going to hit it off. So he said that the board was kind of iffy on it at first. And the only thing that helped me out was because I was Mexican. That was the only one of the main reasons, because they have a heart for the Hispanic community.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, you being Hispanic, like this is what kind of like, I was like, hey, okay, cool. So I had my first service in March, and it's like I was telling you before, it's mainly more for the Spanglish community, although everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
And it's on Friday nights because I want to reach the younger generation.
Yeah.
I want them to know, about Jesus. Instead of going to the clubs on Friday night or going to parties, hey, come to church. Your life is going to be transformed. Your life is going to be different, and just having the backing from my family, from my parents, my brothers, cousins, like you said,
aunties, uncles, nieces, nephews. I mean, y'all roll deep.
Yeah, so it's been good, man. It's been a process. A few sleepless nights, more like a month. But trusting God, man. Trusting God and everything that He's been doing. His faithfulness has just been so mind-blowing. Like I said, I had plans, and those were just thrown out the window. He's like, no, this is how we're going to do it. People are going to come. Kind of like the build it and the field. Is it the Field of Dreams?
Yeah. Field of Dreams, that's right.
So it's been good. It's been amazing. Seeing people come, having friends that I've known for a while that aren't Christian that show up and they're like, hey, this is really cool what you're doing,
Yeah.
Getting people exposed to the gospel. And my heart is just for the city, man. My heart is for the city. And especially now, in the times that we're living in now, like, the whole identity crisis thing that's going on with this generation, speaking identity into the younger generation, and telling them, hey, this is who you are according to the Gospels, according to what God has to say about you. But the ride has been amazing. It's still amazing, even though it's been only 6 months.
Yeah, man. Y'all just getting started, man. You know what I mean? It's really awesome. It's so amazing to me, man, to see the whole journey, the full circle, even with your family. You know what I mean? Because I remember when we first met, I was like, hey, what about this person? What about that person? You're like, yeah, they're really not into it right now. But now I see them in pictures like, worshiping with you. You know what I mean? See your mom and dad and your whole family in this thing. I think it's really, really awesome, man. Just to see how God has brought about restoration.
Yes.
He's brought about healing.
Yes.
Even when you thought it wasn't going to happen, God said, no, look, this is all part of the process. You thought it happened to you, but it's actually happened for you. And so watch what I can do. And so to see the full circle. So with Ascenzion, you're meeting on Friday nights. You're wanting to reach the younger audience, but then you also have like seasoned saints in the congregation as well. So it's very much like a transgenerational congregation, right?
Yes.
So tell me like more about your vision for the Spanish American community. You know what I mean? So what does that look like to you?
Just families coming together, man. Just building that bridge, like I was telling you, building that bridge, having your tias, tíos, your fathers, your abuelos, grandparents there, and at the same time seeing their kids, their nieces, nephews, the grandchildren all come together, building that gap, and seeing them come united. Because one of the things that sadly I feel like the enemy has done in the families today, and you can say every family, is kind of like split them apart, or create division. Like I was seeing a meme, and it had kids sleeping over, all the cousins sleeping over, like, hey, this is what we did growing up. And in the second picture, it was everybody like, not talking, everybody doing their own thing. But sadly, this is the reality. So for me, it's just families coming together, getting to know Jesus, getting to know the love of God, and being restored. That's probably my biggest thing. And I'm seeing it in my own family.
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing it with my aunts, my uncles that don't know the Lord coming into church. Mm-hmm. I'm not inviting them, bro. They're coming by themselves. It's like, and then asking questions. They're like, hey, what is it? I had one of my cousins tell me like, yeah, church isn't for me, but I just wanted to check it out. She's like, I probably won't be back. And she's been back 3 times.
Well, come on in, girl, and get saved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I just want that one thing is just restoring those families, coming together. Because the Hispanic culture is big on families, man. The Hispanic culture is like big on all your aunts, all your uncles, the abuelos, the primos getting together, having that barbecue. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to create. I want to create that restoration within those generations. I don't want to see the grandkids not knowing their abuelos or having that problematic situation. No, I want them all to come and experience Jesus, and Jesus has been restoring a lot of things in my family in this season.
That's amazing.
And this includes my extended family, and And he's been faithful, bro. He's been
He's
been so faithful, and that's what I want other families to experience. That's what I want them to know, And it's just like, I think the biggest thing for me is like, hey, I don't want to beat you with the Bible. I want to show you the love of Christ, and that's going to change your surrounding. That's going to change your nucleus around you, and your whole family nucleus is going to come, and it's going to get to experience something different.
Yeah,
I
find it so awesome that God restored you. And now he's using you to restore others, and not just individuals, but entire families. That's awesome, man. So if people want to get more connection with you, maybe come to church, find out more, what's the best way for them to do that?
So they can go into our website. It's ascension.org. Hit the IGs, Ascension LV. Or my personal Instagram is JRCDVD.
Okay.
Send me a DM or anything. I'm always open to talk. Like I said, we meet on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Everybody's welcome, bro. Just be careful because I do preach in Spanglish. So
all right, there you go. That's it, man. Dude, it's great to have you on the show, man. I'm glad we're friends. I'm glad we're serving the city together, man.
Yeah, man.
It's amazing. Thanks, man. Appreciate
my pleasure.
You. Yeah, absolutely. And hey, listen, I want to say thank you to you for taking some time to join us. I want to shout out everyone watching on Keen 17. Woo, woo, woo.
Let's go.
Not too much long ago. Yeah, let's go, right? Not too long ago, I was in a certain grocery store, and I had some lady come up to me and go, Pastor Aaron, I didn't know you come to this grocery store, and I thought she went to my church. But no, she said, I watch you on Keen 17. I said, all right, glory. So listen, if you watch on Keen 17, thank you so much. If you listen to this on any streaming platform, please hit the subscribe button to that. Or if you watch this on YouTube, go ahead and hit the like button. Leave us a little comment. Show us a little love. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. But hey, listen, we love you. I love you. I'm so glad to be in this city together with you. And we will see you next time right here on Las Vegas United. God bless you.
Our show is hosted by Pastor Aaron Pino of Overflow Church. To learn more about him and his ministry, please visit overflowchurch.co. The guest this week is David Juarez. For more information, visit ascension.org. Las Vegas United is produced by CT in Vegas, the Las Vegas location for the Christian Television Network. For more information about CT in Vegas and our show, please visit ctinvegas.com.